How do, everyone? Welcome back to the Pottymouth Garden Club. Yes, and look, we have four of us here today, and there's a stranger back in town. There's a stranger back. JB, it's lovely. It's been a while.
It's been it feels like it's been months
no,
and months.
no. I mean, has anything happened since I've last seen you? Has anything?
I have a new piece of jewelry.
Oh,
look at that.
Does it feel any different?
A little bit. I'm not used to saying my wife. That's
Right.
really taking some getting
Right.
used to. We've been engaged for something crazy like 6 years, I think, and we've been together for 10 years. So
It's about time. About time you put a ring on that last finger.
Our original wedding date was in 2020. Someone sent us a picture the other day of our first ever save the date that we sent out. We were going to get married in 2020, but then something happened that year that kind of put a stop to a lot of events like that.
It's funny, JB, we were never meant to get married. Me and Melanie, we were like always, I think we'd been together 10 years or something with kids. And then Ellie came around and we still weren't going to. And then I don't know what happened, but I'm sure it was our mum or something said something. And it was just right. Why not? Let's have a party. You know what I mean? And we ended up, and that's it. You know what I mean? So
that's crazy. Yeah, no, it was definitely on the cards for a really long time.
And I was going to say on WhatsApp that you had a fantastic honeymoon as well.
Like
paradise.
Amazing, yeah, complete paradise. We it was my first ever like all-inclusive holiday. We went to a resort in Crete. And I've never done like an all-inclusive holiday because I was always terrified I'd get quite bored and get itchy feet and want to go like hiking and exploring. And I really get it now. I really get the appeal. I pretty much just kind of like melted into just like this relaxed puddle of human. I was just like, I've never been so relaxed in my life. Just completely switched off. And it was the resort we were staying in is like the kind of place you'll only ever really go once in our life. I think it was super nice. We had basically a private pool just to ourselves, and it was just amazing. It was all inclusive everything. They had like a pizza stand, a barbecue stand. They had this like waffle and pancake stand that was so good. It was open till like 1 a.m. every night. So you could just have like infinite pancakes and waffles. It was mind blowing. It was so good. Really nice.
We did it once all inclusive, but we did get itchy feet, and it was ours probably wasn't the kind of ours was probably 2-star, 3-star all inclusive, and it was just like we were itching to get out. And you were like going to the same restaurant that you were having your breakfast in, and there was, I don't know if that just me being a snob, but there was a family there, right? And they had chips, and that's all they had. And you'd walk past this family, mother and husband, and 2 kids, who'd have a pile of chips in the middle, and then a plate full of chips each, and that's it. That's all I ever seen them eat. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, where are we? We're like this like hotel
all-inclusive chip holiday.
Chip holiday. You know what I mean? Yes, we got itchy feet and we found it hard to eat. And it was more so that, like you say, you're going down for breakfast, but then you're getting ready and dressed up, and you're going into the same like restaurant breakfast bar that for lunch. You know what I mean? And dinner and that, and was hard for us.
This was really nice. They had 6 different restaurants just in the resort. And it was just like you could pick and choose. You never got bored. They had this amazing pizza station as well with like a massive pizza oven where they were just like machining out these fresh pizzas, and you could just go and take a whole pizza to yourself if you wanted. It was amazing. It really was just like mind blowing.
So did you come back to a garden of weeds, or
it was I was very, very lucky. My dad stepped in for the
All
most
right.
part
Yeah.
and has been caretaking the plot. Not just tending it and watering it, but he actually planted out a load of stuff that I didn't get around to as well. So
Right.
he really, really saved my bacon, which is nice. He's been strimming like a madman as well. My paths have never been so short. I went around and I was like, has someone mowed this? And he was like, no, I just went up with the strimmer. So-
Did Pop overstep the mark as well? Did he like what are you doing there? You've pulled up them. You've done because my mum
No.
did that once. You know, she pulled
No.
up me what was it? Sweet potatoes once. She kind of
Yeah. He was very good. They didn't do any like precision weeding, you know. So he did the paths, but he didn't touch anything in the beds apart from planting out. I did send him like a little video, just like, you know, avoid this bit. I've got some parsnips in here and some little lettuce seedlings here and there. But yeah, it did an amazing job. There's quite a lot to do. I'm
it's
feeling a little
lovely
bit
that
behind.
you're back on. I was expecting to give you another week on holiday before you hit the ground running here, but it's lovely to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Audrey, nice to have you back there, girl. Are you well?
Great
Are
to
you
be
good?
here. Yes, I am. Thank
Yes. JB, guess what? She's hungover. The Queen's hungover. I wasn't supposed to say anything, but by God, she's been supping that bloody bourbon like there's no tomorrow, man. So,
Now, to be fair, what did I say? I'm too old for that now. I gotta stop. Like we're done. We're done.
oh, was it a special occasion, Audrey? Like you drank the full bottle of bourbon, or was it
I
just?
didn't drink a bottle. Oh my God.
I was going to say, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
You
no,
made it.
I did not. I had a nice a highball of one.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it was still, I don't drink like alcohol on the rocks, but I enjoyed it. Went down great. Not feeling so great this morning, so we're done. Yeah.
What time have we got there, Audrey? Have we got what time are you there now?
It is what, 10 o'clock? 10.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10
Early enough.
I know.
Yeah,
I still don't have to get.
Yeah.
I have physical therapy this afternoon, so I have to get my, head going.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Kerry, lovely to have you again as well. Thank you
Hiya.
yes. Are you well, Kerry? Are you good?
I'm good, thank you. Yep.
Right. How's gardening? How is things? Because you were saying just before we came on that you've been like Miss School Teacher marking and getting things prepped and all that. So have you been in the allotment lately, or?
Yeah. No, it has been busy with work. It always is at this time of year, getting everything marked and through the boards. But I've been to the plot. I've been working hard, getting stuff out. I'd done all that weeding. So my weeding was done, other than, what trying to keep on top of. So I could concentrate on putting some stuff out. I've now got 16 of my 70 tomatoes out. So I'm making progress there. Sweet peppers are out. Yeah. So.
Is the rest of the tomatoes, are they getting by any chance pot bound? Because a couple of mine were, you know what I mean? They were starting to kind of really struggle, but I got them in, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
some of them I think are, rather than pot bound, just kind of not got enough nutrients now. But I did stagger my sowings, so the ones that are still waiting to go out are the ones that I sowed last. So it's mostly the beefsteaks that I sowed first that have gone out now. But yeah, I think I've got a window of time. It's not got too late yet.
I've just started to use, I don't know, JB, have you used the Nutri-Grow? You know, that you get like a mix with the quad grows there, because Ian's always harping on from Growing Local. Use that stuff, it's good. And I was using, like, to start with, a little bit of CalMag, but I actually had to go through ChatGTP and ask the mix ratios, because I still couldn't find it on the site, like for the reservoir.
That's risky, Tony.
You know what I mean?
Putting
So-
it in the hands of ChatGPT.
You can just ask
Gonna
Google,
overfeed
can't
them.
you? I mean,
Honestly, I ask now ChatGPT everything. I mean, way more than Google. I took photographs of the tubs and I just said, "Tell us how to mix these properly," and it knew from green sensations, everything like that. It was so I now know me mix to put into each little, like, say, reservoir. You've got two reservoirs for
well,
one.
we'll see how they look.
See how the yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how accurate that is, right?
So
I do rate that stuff. I think it's really good. I'm trying this year, and I've bought a new fertilizer,
Oh,
and I'm frantically looking through my emails to tell everyone what it is, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. It was recommended by Niall Radford from NR Tomatoes. He said it's like the best thing he's ever used. It's very similar to Master Blend. But that'll be in a video at some point when I find out what it's called.
Well,
it's in a cardboard box somewhere. It's still unopened.
I went back for the chilies to the... Oh, I forgot what it's called. I forgot. The best gardening show recommended.
We're so prepared, aren't we?
Is it Chili Focus? Is that what I'm talking? Yes, I've bought it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was feeding them my chili side of it, and I was like using like a pipette, and I knocked me bloody container over, so I lost like a quarter of it because it was on the floor, the lid wasn't on, and I was like scratching around trying to pick up this bloody new bottle of Chili Focus bloody feed. Lost half of it anyway.
You're all very good. I only use seaweed feed, and if I make a comfrey or a nettle feed, I'll do that. In fact, I need to do that. I need to make some comfrey feed.
Kerry, it's just what I've got. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, I did the Chili Focus last year. I've just run out of the seaweed feed. I've got some down here, but it's not up there. So,
but you have actual seaweed, don't you?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go down there again. It's hard work, to be honest. You know what I mean? So, because I don't like to go to the beach just myself. I would always like to go and take the dogs. You know what I mean? So, it's like hard work when you've got the dogs and you're trying to collect seaweed, then run back to the car to dump the bags of seaweed, and then I don't want to pay for the parking ticket because the council charge you when you park right close to the beach. So it's easier just to buy a bottle of concentrate off Amazon.
I have seen there is like you can go through a whole process of like you have to wash it and everything as well, right?
Well, JB, it's funny, because, like I did that once and I got a whole load of messages, like I put it just straight on my compost bin. Whoa, the salt, there's too much salt. But then half the other messages, it's the best thing, leave it, don't wash it. You know what I mean? So you can
really?
Yes. So I honestly don't know what's the best method with seaweed. You mean, do you wash it? Do you take that salt off? Do you leave it in for the garden?
That seems surprising. My local beach where I could potentially collect any is a site of special scientific interest, so you're not allowed to take anything from it.
Right.
In my line of work, you should not be doing anything questionable like that.
You should be like, JB, you've got the authority to say, yes, I'm doing research. That's why I need 5 bags, the bin bag.
They just say, you should know better.
Are you feeding yet then, JB? Anything?
Just a little bit of seaweed, on stuff. And really that's only on stuff that I've left in the pot for too long. Left in the cells and probably should have planted out weeks ago, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I just bought a new, the maxi crop seaweed.
Oh, yes.
Looks really fancy, slightly more expensive. Mm-hmm. And I've always looked at that and gone, ooh, maybe one day I'll graduate to the fancy stuff. I have no idea if it's any better or if it's just marketing, but
was it
I put
expensive?
some of that. It was like 20 quid for like a really chunky, chunky big bowl. No idea how many liters it is.
Because it does tend to be expensive anyway.
Yeah, maybe 2 liters. Maybe it's not that much. But I put that in a little sprayer as well. I've got like a little 5-liter sprayer. I just like to spray it on the crops when it's really hot. Get a little bit of a foliar feed on them. It darkens up the leaves and they just look healthy for it. It's something. It's like I feel like I'm treating my plants. It's like giving them a little spa day with the foliar feed. So I quite like that.
Is every tomato out then? Is everything out? Like everything?
Oh god, mostly. Yeah, mostly. I've got a few tomatoes that I want to plant outside, but the polytunnel tomatoes are in. The polytunnel is done. That was my last. It was the day before we went on the honeymoon, and I really underestimated how much there was to do. It's just like, oh no, halfway through and you realize I've made a grave error. I have left this way too late. So it's a real marathon the day before we left. And I'd sort of set out to film it and then just gave up. I was like, I don't have time to do this. I'm just going to have to do it before and after. But I did get all the auto pots set up. I got my six big chili plants in the polytunnel. Got a little chili grow set up and the quad grows as well with the chili in the greenhouse. And then I think it's about 30 tomatoes in the ground in the polytunnel, maybe sort of 24, something like that.
Good.
So it was a big job. Like actually digging those into the ground it takes so much longer than I remember.
You might have more tomatoes than me, to be honest. I've got one side done and two others, so...
You're going to have ripe fruits a lot earlier than me, that's for sure.
Well,
yours are well away.
I'm hoping this year, to drag them through later on. We will see. Do you know what I mean? We will see. So, Kerry, when you're going to get all the rest of them in?
The problem is these broccolis that are in the polytunnel are cropping so well. I just can't bear to pull them out. And I mean, I have been harvesting them, so there are some plants I can take out, but they're not all in one space where I could like clear a section and put some more tomatoes in. They're all dotted about. And now the cauliflowers are coming and the Romanescos. I just can't bear to lose that crop to put the tomatoes out. So it's a bit of a balancing act at the minute. So I've got to find the right time.
Kerry, shall I just kind of tip that balance and where you think you're okay? Shall I just say something that's going to knock you? It's going to rock your world.
Go on.
It starts getting darker in 2.5 weeks' time. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Isn't that scary?
I can't believe we're this far into June already. I really can't.
Yeah.
We were walking through Newcastle, myself and my wife, and we stopped at the traffic lights across the road, and we had our dog Daisy, and someone turned around to pet the dog and started talking and said, it gets dark in 2.5 weeks. You know what I mean? It starts
gosh.
And it was like, never.
Did you punch him? I don't know. Don't tell me that.
Audrey, that's the drink talking, man, for God's sake.
I know it's coming. Don't talk about it.
Oh, I know. You must be sorted, Audrey, though, now. You've had 2 good weeks.
No. I have half my tomatoes in. All my peppers are in. And my tomatoes that are not in are looking pretty sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they just start getting leggy and not happy, and it's kind of how they look. So I'm just going to bury them as deep as I can, and then they're cherry. Most of them are cherries, so they will produce quickly. But they have to get in this week, or I'm going to have to give them away because I just don't want them to die on my deck. You know, like let somebody have some tomatoes. But I'll get them in.
It's funny, I've had you know what I mean, I've kind of got time on my hands there now, but I've just been, to be honest, firefighting with the weeds. Do you know what I mean? Weeds have just been horrendous. You know, we've had some lovely downpours for the garden, I planted some beans today, and the soil is lovely. But it's just obviously the perfect temperature, the perfect for this kind of micro seed beds are just coming up. So every time I go up just for I'll just potter. I'm just pottering weeding. So God help anyone, you know, in your, Kerry's still got 50 odd tomatoes to get in there when there's the weeds that just seem to be coming in.
Yeah.
I mulched quite well this year, so the beds that I have mulched well, I can see the difference from the ones that I haven't, and so that's keeping things down a little bit. And it's not just the tomatoes. I've got no cucumbers out yet, no courgettes, no pumpkins. They're all just sitting there waiting. I've still got beans to go out.
That just reminded me. Yep, those are there too.
It's hard finding the time. I'm always just trying to squeeze things in. I've been doing well this week doing that, just going down and getting 1 or 2 things out. Flowers as well. I sowed so many flowers this year and they take forever. They're all each little cell, finding a place for it. I managed to get all my brassicas out now. And some of those are just going to be sacrificial brassicas because there's no netting on them or anything. They're just there to feed the pigeons, I think.
Yeah, I have some of those.
Kerry, are you good with time management when you go to an allotment? You know, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this job. Because it's just me personally, I go, I'm going to do this. Oh, look at them! I'll just do that. You know, and I'm off and gone, and like,
Yeah, it goes either way. Sometimes I have a nice to-do list and I'm very good and I work through my list. Other times I do my see it, do it. So there's just so much to do. There's no point even making a list. So I just go into the space and everything I see, I try and do. So sometimes I do that. And sometimes I go and just people chat to me for a long time and I
That's
have
the
a cup of
worst.
tea. Oh gosh, you know what I did this week? My sister has a greenhouse on our plots and there's nothing in it at the moment because it's been newly erected and stuff. And she's going to put some citrus trees in and things. But at the moment we just sit in it. And it's lovely and warm. So I took my spare lounger down and put that into the greenhouse.
Dangerous.
Oh my!
I hope
I
you're not
sat
going
down
to.
in that and I pushed it back, and I'm like, oh, I could have a nap right now.
No.
So yeah, that might be dangerous. Yeah, going forward.
Did you fall asleep?
I didn't, but I
No.
could have. I guess it's still that thing that you kind of relax, and then something catches your eye, and you're like, oh, I'll go do that.
JB, what's the main thing you've got to do then? What's the on the desperate list to do?
Sowing mainly. I think I haven't got any seedlings now, really. I've got some sort of my squashes. I need to just go through and see like what have I actually got and what do I need to resow. My cucumbers have been awful this year. I think this is going to be like maybe my worst cucumber year. I missed some germination and then kind of like forgot to really get some more on the go, and I think I might only have 1 or 2 plants if I'm lucky. So that's a little bit of a shame, and it's a little on the late side now. I've got quite a few squashes that have germinated, but they're still only sort of they're moving very slowly compared to everything else this year, and I haven't really got any space for them. You know, when you look around and you go, how did all of these beds fill up? Like towards the beginning of the year, in April, I was like, "Wow, there's a lot of beds. Like, I don't have enough. I don't have enough to fill all of this." And then I was looking around, thinking, "Where on earth are these squash going to go?" And,
Could you not, JB, put some cardboard over your compost bins and bury them like in compost?
Well, I don't have any compost bins really. That's the thing. I've got the hot bin now, the hot bin, and I kind of just use that. And I've got the old kind of. My old bay system is just kind of sat there waiting for me to like sledgehammer it down, to be honest. I've sort of been undecided about whether to keep it or rebuild it. It's sort of all part of the shed project there. And I haven't decided exactly what to do with it yet. So not really.
Right.
Not really. I'll find space, you know, there'll be somewhere I can sneak them in. But yeah, that and brassicas is the main thing. I've got some cabbages and like my purple sprouting broccoli plants are looking pretty neglected in the greenhouse. They're not looking too happy. So I'm hoping if I can get those out, they'll be okay. Because if I don't have purple sprouting broccoli, I'll be very, very sad. And
mine, I just sowed mine last week.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Because like late so and so they'll do that like hungry gap next year kind of thing. But so I'm not.
So can you still get brassicas out at this point? It's
yeah,
not
well,
too
you can
warm?
do. Yeah, I think it depends on if you want kind of cabbages, you've got to sow the right ones, you know, ones for overwintering. And yeah, purple sprouting broccoli will be fine now. They love getting out this time of year.
I've got this weather app now called AccuWeather. This is a good thing. So it tells you minute by minute the weather forecast, if it's going to rain, and it's obviously it's been perfect. But it also does history. Now, I'm just going on because I'm going to talk about it. Well, I was going to talk about it on Mark on Wednesday when we record. So today on Wednesday's forecast, it's 19 and a low of 12. Last year, it was the high of 11 and a low of 6. Do you know what I mean? So, like, because we just watched Clarkson's Farm, and it was like last year it was filmed, and they've had like a battle, you know, a terrible kind of season of crops. And I just remember like last year was just pitiful for quite a few people. Do you know what I mean? So when you think them figures there, thank God, I think we're going to have a good season this year. Touch wood, you know what I mean? So
I'm hopeful. Yeah, I was saying this week because I'd brought some stuff that I'd harvested here. I'm in Derby. I'm at my partner's at the moment, and I'd brought this big basket of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I grew this, and look at this, and this cauliflower that I grew, and like, I'm so excited about. And he's like, why do you act like you can't grow things? And it dawned on me how demoralized I'd been by last year, and it just knocked my confidence so much last year. And I think now with the new plot and the better weather this year, it's like my joy and is just renewed in doing the garden. Absolutely.
Nice.
I've even got carrots germinated this year. There, you know what I mean? There you go. There you go.
You do have the magic touch this year, though, Tony.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you backed way off. I know I was pushing you to add more stuff to your beds, but I'm like, you are so chill. I'm like, don't add anything. Just keep it the way it is.
Honestly, it's Audrey.
You're enjoying it. It's fine.
So much easier. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like there is a bed. I've got one bed left to plant, and I don't know what to put in there. But like putting 4 like red cabbages in a big bed it's cathartic. Honestly, it's just like and it's so easy to weed. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds a weird thing, but weeds get me like frustrated. And everything seems to be, you know what I mean? I've got beetroot there now that I just did, and they're ready to come up. Some lovely sized beetroot. So less is more. Don't just shove it in, Kerry.
More is more. The first year I got my allotment, my mantra was go big or go home. I was like, I'm just going to grow everything, and I haven't stopped. But I think next year I'm going to have to be a little bit more strategic. Work is going to get busier next year, so I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to manage my big allotment and the garden, because it definitely has felt a lot this year. I've felt a lot of pressure this year, and I can't go into next year doing the same thing. So yes, no 70 tomatoes next year, no 42 pumpkins next year.
It's mind, Kerry, it's so hard to sow, because you just end up, well, I've got the seeds, I'll sow them. And then by the time you know it, they're all up, they're all looking healthy and good.
What do you do with them?
I know.
That's the hard part. That's where I get really messed up.
Well, Mark did you hear, we did a show last Wednesday, and Mark they do like a giveaway in his little town of Lithgow, I think it's called, where it's just like you come and you can get plants, you can get free plants, there's no like charge, it's just like help yourself. So he's got that avenue to give away, the spare plants, which I think was a great idea, to be honest.
I mean, I have done that. I've given a lot of brassicas and tomatoes. We have a little allotment sale. It raises some money. So it's every sort of weekend during May. And you can bring any spare plants you've got, and they get sold off to other allotment holders. And it just raises money for the allotments. But I've given a lot to that sale.
You haven't given away your tomatoes, though. You haven't given away the bloody tomatoes away.
I did, because if you remember, I'm only keeping one variety of every tomato. So wherever I had duplicates, they've been given away now. Oh. So my 70 are all different.
You must have had so many tomato plants then, if you've just got 70.
I can't resist it. The thing about tomatoes, and maybe this is how JB feels about the chilies, it's the names, the pictures on the front of the seed packets, and when anyone ever talks about them, and it's like, oh, this is the sweetest that you can have, or this is the biggest you can have, and I'm like, well, I must have that then. And it just escalates terribly.
They're just romantic. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are romantic. Their names and everything are just captivating, and I do have the same thing with chilies for sure. I mean, 70 varieties though is wild. Your seed bill must have been wild, Gary. Because I think I bought like maybe 8 varieties this year, and that was not cheap.
No, I have some special ones that I spent out on a little bit, but I saved a lot from last year, and I don't feel last year was a good year to judge tomatoes on, because they just didn't get the heat. So I wanted to do all last year's again. People send you seed, and I think when you sent it as well, you feel doubly like you should be growing it. And I do buy things in sales. So
very
over the
smart.
year, I well, I don't know if it's smart because
Mm.
well, you might think, oh,
This
that's
is where
one
we are
tomato,
now.
one tomato I want, and then 5 other things get added to the basket.
Yeah.
Mind you're right, JB. You know what I mean? If you go to just normal, like say a garden centre, and you pick 8 packets of tomato seeds, $3.99 a pack. You know what I mean? It sharp adds up.
Oh, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, but then
tomato ones, you're
it's the
looking at
specialist
fiver.
shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, the specialist shops, you're looking more at like 6 or 7 quid a pack. You know, similar with chilies as well. And it adds up really quite quickly.
Oh, no.
Like, ooh, when you get to the checkout. And it's why I try now. I'm pretty like, I'm not very good at going to lots of different shops. You know, there's a lot of tomatoes seeds I've just left in a basket because a shop only has 1 or 2 varieties that I want. You know, if I can get like 6 or 7 from a place, then I'll put the order in and pay the postage. But if you've only got 1 or 2, sorry, you're not making the cut.
No, I was the same actually. I'd looked on a few different sites and I wanted these here, and then I found one that had pretty much everything I wanted. I did buy a new tomato seed this week, which I will be sowing for this year because
Wow.
it's a storage tomato. So
Oh, yeah.
you do sow it late because you don't want it to ripen before the end of the season, because you want to hang it over winter, and then it ripen over winter and you get fresh tomatoes then. So we shall see how that goes. I've never done it before.
So
I've seen them on Instagram and I'm just so skeptical. You know, one of those things you see and you're like, that is fake. That is
Well,
not
I will
real.
test it for you, JP.
Yeah. There is no way you've got like fresh tomatoes on your kitchen counter in February. I'm sorry, you've made that up. That's not happening. I don't believe it.
what they're called, Kerry? Do you know what they were called? Or
No, I can't remember the variety I picked now. There were 2 or 3 different varieties though, and I think I picked the one that you hang. So you have a big truss and you hang it over winter. So I can put it in my pantry where it's kind of cool.
so you've got the tomato on there, but it's green. I take it.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think
cut
it's green when you cut it off. Yeah.
right, and then you just go and put it in your pantry. And right.
So we shall see. But there are different ones that you
Yeah.
store in different ways. But I think this one is the hanging one.
Haven't heard
I
of them.
just can't imagine those taste like a fresh tomato.
Right. That's the other bit.
I'm seeing a winter tomato at a grocery store, and it's horrible.
Tasteless.
Yeah, and it's like spongy.
Well, apparently this is supposed to, as it ripens, it almost goes like a sun-ripened tomato, so dried tomato.
Okay.
Yeah, which does have a lot of flavour.
Yeah.
So we shall see. I shall test it for all of us.
Okay.
But what I did find, because when I was trying to preserve tomatoes last year, and I did fermented tomatoes still in the fridge, because although they're fun and they look pretty in the jars, when you actually eat them, it really is a burst of brine.
Yeah,
More than anything, you're just eating brine. There isn't much flavour there.
That is exactly why I've never fermented a tomato. I was like, this doesn't seem worth my time.
It's supposed to be like it's almost like champagne, because you get this burst. But yeah, it's a burst of vinegar more than anything.
Anything else going on in the garden? Any successes, JB, that you've noticed when you come back?
I think you know, Kerry was just mentioning like taking it a bit easier next year, and I feel like that's my success this year. Is I feel like I've definitely had the most balanced year in the garden. I've been much more like taking my foot off the pedal.
Your foot was off the pedal in bloody January, February. I don't think it even went down.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But I feel like it's worked out pretty well. The only things that I've missed are, I think, early sowing of tomatoes and cucumbers, really. And it would have been nice if we'd been harvesting some beetroot and some radish. And that's about it. That's the only thing I've really missed. And I felt so much more relaxed in comparison. My chili crop won't be as big. My chili crop will be reduced this year. I thought my chili plants would have been loving the weather a little bit more than they are. They're looking okay, you know, but they're nothing like last year's. You know, they're like quite a few weeks behind last year's. that feels like a win this year. You know, like I've been to Japan.
I was going to
I've
say
been
you've
on
been
a
in Japan.
honeymoon.
Yes.
Like I've been like the lead up to the wedding and stuff could have been so much more stressful if I was like worried and trying to spend all my time down the allotment. It must be like the least time I've spent at the allotment this year, and everything looks fine. Part of that at the moment is due to my dad. Yes, thank you. But like before that as well, you know, generally it's been fine. We've had some nice crops. I've had like the best lettuce year I've ever had before. Like I'm drowning in this stuff. It's really nice. There's lots of germination. Everything's looking healthy. You know, we've had a nice growing year. That's how I'm feeling about this year so far. It's definitely more balanced and it's nice.
Well, you started your chilies way later, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah, mid February.
Yes.
Mid-February. So
Yeah.
they look like they're about. I mean, I wouldn't say they look like they're 10 weeks behind. You know, it doesn't look like there's 10 weeks of difference between what I've got now and last year, but it is 10 weeks of growth that I've kind of cut off them. So they're looking okay, and they will now they're in their big pots. They'll just start romping away. Slightly mixed weather still, but I think they'll do their thing.
Mine seem a little bit as well. I think mine stalled for a little bit, JB, about a fortnight of stalled, but they're in the same away, and there's a few chilies on certain varieties and that. So
yeah, nice.
How
Tell
are
you what,
your
my other big
potatoes?
win.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, my other big win as well is you know, last year I tried digging a little bit. I know, Kerry, you did lots of. You had on the old plot, you had all sorts of problems with your soil texture as well, and yeah, when I did my winter kind of amendments, Grown Local very kindly sent me like ridiculous amounts of compost, and I did some of it no dig, just layering it on top as usual, and I did some where I just kind of dug it into the top, maybe like half a fork. You know, it wasn't like full digging 2 spits deep or anything like that. And it's so much easier to plant out in the dug bed. It's like going into butter. It's so nice. And the no dig beds, yeah, they're definitely easier than last year. If I make sure that they've had a really good water, it's okay. But it feels like if I dib, I'm kind of compressing it a little bit. Whereas the dug beds, you just like, you can go along and just dib, plant out. And it's like, oh my God, this is so much easier. You know, it takes,
Do you think
you
you'll
can do things.
dig those beds next year then?
Well, what I'm going to do is see how bad the weed pressure is this year and see whether or not I can cope with the weed pressure and the trade-off. So far, it's been really minimal. I think I've hit that point of I mean, you're saying you got loads and loads of weeds, Tony, which is surprising because you've been cultivating that plot for so long. I feel like I'm just getting to the point now where it's been kind of 5 years of pretty decent cultivation. There's been a few times where the weeds have really got away and probably will have seeded a bit. But I do think after a few years, that kind of seed bank and the weed pressure, it should slow down a bit, you know?
Well, if you're putting on like compost that's been, you know, if you've turned your compost and you've got some heat in there, kill the seeds, where I've never done that, you know what I mean? It's just let it cool down, put it on cold kind of thing. So, I mean, there's nothing nasty, you know, with mine, like there's no like, not that
yours
many
is like chickweed and stuff, isn't
just
it?
you know what I mean. So you can grab it with your hands if you you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of, but it's just if you're away for a fortnight or something, you know, go on holiday and you've sown carrots and you can't see the seedlings for the chickweed kind of thing. That's the thing. So
I've got one bed where I did like my onion beds, and I brought up a load of homemade compost, and I knew it would have a bit of weed seed in, but I was not anticipating it. It's like the one that I haven't got around to weeding yet as well, and it's like you can't see the onions anymore. It's mostly tomato seed that's made it into the compost.
Really?
And it's just like a jungle of tomatoes and potatoes and other bits and bobs. But generally, the weed pressure has been really, really manageable this year.
Mate, I tell you what's been a bit naff this year with me, the garlic. I planted garlic in bins, and I used, because of just onion white rot, you know what I mean? It was just like terrible. I got brought in compost, like bag compost. I don't know which one it was, I forget now. And farmyard manure bagged in. And they're the size of marbles. You know what I mean? I've pulled the odd one and it's just like, I'm more excited now about the actual soil that's in there still to put on a bed. The tree, you know what I mean? Just the tiny little things. And I've
Well, that's
seen
a
people
shame.
where they've grown them, you know, that they've been watered, you know, it's nothing to do with kind of watering or anything like that. And I forget the lad's name, had them in like white fish trays, and he would pull out these giant bulbs, you know what I mean? And I was like, what's going on here? So, and I've mentioned a couple of times go to Costco and you can buy peeled garlic in a bag for, you know what I mean? It's like, right.
Yes,
No
yeah,
more
definitely.
garlic. No more garlic.
How's everyone else's garlic looking? Mine looks, I don't know what it looks like under the soil. Above the soil, it looks okay. I've done mine in buckets, but I haven't actually harvested any yet.
Mine are in the ground. There's a little bit of rust, but they're next to the onions, and the onions do have allium leaf minor, so I'm slightly worried. But I've got garlic on the plot and at home in beds, and usually the home garlic does really well, so I should be fine. But I'm not pulling yet. I've seen a lot of people pulling theirs already, mostly because they're worrying about rot, I think. But I'm holding off.
Till when?
Mine,
Another couple of weeks. I don't think I did mine till July last year. I like big garlic, and I've got the elephant garlic as well.
I normally copy off Charlie Dowden says the 24th of June. So that's when my kind of...
That is so funny. Like, how do you pick a date like that? You know, what year? What year is that? Yeah, that's so funny.
24th of June, Audrey, every year. Doesn't matter what year, day it is.
I try to
or when I planted it.
I try to pull mine on the 4th of July weekend.
Well,
we get an extra day. So,
yeah.
And my scapes should be coming in the next week or so.
Yeah, I've had my scapes.
Yeah, we've had
I don't have scapes yet. But
Okay.
I think they got to be close. So, and then I let it grow for another 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
And then I yank them.
I definitely did plant mine on the shortest day. So I should pull it on the longest day, which is the 23rd, 24th of June, isn't it?
Oh, maybe that's why he says that.
Yeah, that's the traditional. Sow it on the shortest, harvest on the longest.
There you see.
There was method to the madness.
Wow. Okay.
Anything else? Have we got anything, Audrey? Anything?
I was going to ask you how your potatoes are doing, Tony.
They're all right. I mean, I only planted main crop, Audrey, and
no, I meant your sweet potatoes. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there seemed to be a way. To be honest, yes. And
mine aren't in either yet.
All right.
Good.
Mine
are you gardening this year? Is anyone gardening? Am I just here by myself gardening?
Apparently, I'm not. But I realize I have like a huge bed and a half full of garlic. So it's like I got to have something to plant in there when that all gets pulled out. So I am thinking, what the heck am I going to put in there?
Well, that's what I've been sowing. I've got some chard coming along there. I've got some beetroots, spring onions. So I've been, like I say, I seem to be on top of it this year. Do you know what I mean? And quite chuffed with it. You know what I mean? I think probably I've gone in hospital for 2 weeks really kind of made us like think, right, you've got to get things done. God, I might have just like, just potted along and done this, done that, but I've been there. Today I've been putting up like bean fence trellis and all sorts. So
another one.
Nice.
Perfect. Yes.
You just put up like one, didn't you?
I know. Yes, got another one. A neighbour already give us some like wood trellis, like 4 sheets of it. So
wow.
But I did what JB did. You know what I mean? Where you just don't film it, and I just pot it on, and I'll go up and do like a before and an after. This is what I've done. And I'm finding that really helps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where if you just kind of do the job and then take your camera up on an evening and say, well, I've done this today. You know what I mean? And
I've been doing that more and more this year, especially where I've just had less time at the allotment. You go up kind of 2 or 3 times during the week, and then I'll just try and do 1 video on the weekend. And it's nice. Just feels like the pressure's off, You
enjoy gardening. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You kind of enjoy the garden.
But is that gardening
That's pure gardening, where you're just doing it without a camera.
But you're not doing anything.
Not on the video.
You're just going out and talking about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
So is that gardening? I don't know. That feels like pretend gardening. I don't know.
That's when you start getting comments saying like, "Oh yeah, the staff did that when he
I
wasn't
know.
filming."
Like, really? Who actually did that? Yeah.
That happened to me last week because I just had so much to go out, and so I thought, don't do the camera, just get everything out into the ground. And then I set up the camera at the end to do the little plot tour, and the sun was going down. It was dark, and I was like, I can't film now. So I had to come back the following day at lunchtime in my lunch break and do a plot tour, which you think would take, 40 minutes to film. It does not.
No.
It does not.
I might actually
And you're right, Audrey, though. That's time that I could have spent putting more stuff out instead of chatting to myself
actually,
walking
Jared,
around the
I know.
plot.
That's all I'm just saying, because these two are so relaxed. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, yeah.
Audrey, I'm going to do a tour if I can. Actually, 6 o'clock UK time. I'm not sure what time it would be your time, Audrey. And it's the one time of the year where Apple have this like conference, and you can watch what's coming, what technology they're doing, and that. And it's 6 o'clock tonight. So whether I will or not, I've told my wife I'm watching that.
Oh gosh. You need more toys.
I know.
Yes.
There
You
you go.
do. You
Coming
need more
soon.
toys.
Can you see the lights?
What's
No.
that?
The company,
It's a ring like that tells you everything about your body that you never wanted to really know.
I'm doing it. The company sent it to you.
Like, tell me, but be gentle, okay?
I know. So I got a lawnmower sent to us again. That's good, yeah. Someone wants to send.
You can have a like stall out the front of your house, like lawnmowers for sale.
Oh, my brother's got that. Oh, name. That's a
Every
brilliant name.
lawnmower, a free e-bike. Yay!
Yeah. I've stopped them, Audrey. I've stopped them. Gary, you've got to send us that. My hip's gone. I was telling everyone before that it's aching like a good one at the minute. Kerry's got some magical cream you can put on. Oof.
Yeah, this is what every gardener needs: is some arnica oil.
Yes. Get the joints going. Ooh, what was that, JB? Is that you, JB?
That was a motorbike. There's a couple of there's like one car that like drives up and down this road like every single day, and it's the loudest car in the world. It comes through the microphone. It's really annoying.
So, Audrey, right?
Yes.
Till next week, then. What we got to do in the garden? What's gonna get done this week?
That
Put the bottle aside for a night, right? Please. One night, put it
I
aside.
will try. Okay, I will try. Tomatoes got to get finished. Sweet potatoes got to get in. Flowers. Oh God, I have so many flowers. They got to get in.
Sweet corn? Have you got sweet corn?
No.
Right.
It takes up too much room.
Right.
Approve.
Yeah, I have some celery that's still in its little. But I mean, there's a lot of miscellaneous things, and then there's my 35 winter sown jugs that are just staring at me. And what are you gonna do with me? And they're all flowers.
Have they still got the lids on? Or have you just
Oh
taken
no,
the
the
lids
lids
off?
are open. Yeah, and
I
they're
was going to say, surely they're cooking.
Oh my gosh, that is 4 nails by now. Yeah, no, they're getting watered, but they all did really well, which makes it worse because a lot of times when they're sowing, you lose about 25%, which helps the load.
Yeah.
Right? But they all did good. So I'm like, okay, I have 35 of these to find spots for. Look, Tony, look at the disgust there. Come on. Come on. You
It's
wouldn't
just-
find.
It's
You
the
wouldn't
one
find.
year. It's the 1 year where I'm like ahead of myself. There, that's.
I know, and I'm a little jealous of that. But all fairness, it's been a tough year for me.
Oh, it has.
So I have to go. It's been a rough year.
Mm-hmm.
Understatement of the century.
I know.
So, got to cut myself some slack there.
Yeah.
If what about this then? Let's say you could get some out, but you'd have to destroy some. What would you end up? What would you personally think? Right, you know what? Let's just forget that, and that. I need this out. What would you? The dilemma.
Tough decision, is it, Audrey?
It really is. Because
Dump the flowers. There you
even
go.
the flowers.
Dump the flowers. Get rid of the flowers. Burn the flowers.
They're all flowers, Tony. I think it's all flowers. All the way down.
Don't.
Right, Audrey, that's not helping. What are you going to get rid of?
I will cut if I had to, I would cut my tomatoes down to only putting in 13 more because it's very easy to find spots for those. But I have way more than 13, so probably not going to happen. I'm not planting any more peppers, so I'm going to give everything that's a duplicate away because I ended up planting 15 jalapeno peppers. Okay, and why? Because I overseeded. And how many did I really want to put in?Maybe 3. I had 15. Because I wasn't, I am not going to give these up. Come on. They're jalapenos.
Think of all the jars of cowboy candy.
Exactly. And all the other amazing things. Although I could get probably a 10-pound bag at the farmer's market for $5. I don't know. But we're growing them. So I'm done with peppers, so I could get rid of those. And I do have quite a lot of those left. I'm not getting rid of flowers, Tony. Sorry. Yeah, so not much.
That was such a hard thing.
I was trying to go through what
I didn't realize I was going to make Audrey such a turmoil. You know?
This is my life. Once it's growing and looking at me, I can't go. Oh,
Yeah.
Trash. I can't do that. It's a little baby plant. It needs to get out and live its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Kerry, the exact same question for you then.
No more tomatoes are getting out this week because I'm going to keep cropping my broccolis. I will put the sweet potatoes out as well then, Audrey. I'll do that. Yeah. And I am going to put out my dahlias because I have been preparing the dahlia bed in the garden. And JB, I've dug it. So it was so compacted. I broad forked first and it was still just chunks. It was so dry. So I have dug it and put some ericaceous soil in, and then I've got 22 dahlias to go into that bed.
Do they like ericaceous soil, do they?
Apparently they like it acidic, because I was going to put blueberries in with them, but now I've got too many dahlias to fit the blueberries in. But so I'm not putting loads in, but just enough to kind of make it a bit acidic-y. And we'll see how they do. Yeah, I'm hopeful that it'll give them a bit of a perk. And then next year I'll lift the dahlias and then put the blueberries into that bed. So yeah, sweet potatoes and dahlias for this week.
Nice.
Again, before we wrap up, I just want to remind you, it's in 2 weeks' time. We're getting dark. It's starting at night. It's starting to cut in.
No,
so
cut it out.
You know what I mean?
Cut that out. No one heard it.
Oh, I can't believe you said that out loud.
Yeah, that's really rude, actually. I wish I hadn't come on.
I know, it's horrifying.
It is.
Well, go take a grandma nap up at your
know,
allotment then. Nana nap. Sorry.
No. I've had it already. Audrey, I cannot have two. I cannot do two. I've had me one already.
Oh no, it's not 10 o'clock to you. It's
Oh,
3 o'clock. I'm like, we've already had a nap.
I can last the touch. I can last the touch longer than a couple of hours. It's 4 o'clock here. 4:05 by my standards. I tell you what, then we'll call it a day because there's people got work to do planting out. Audrey, Kerry, I need all them done. I need it done for next week.
Okay.
Oh, I will be asking.
Hold us to account.
Yeah, Audrey, where can we find you?
Real Food Comes Dirty, YouTube, Insta, and .com.
And not at the bottom of a bottle.
Oh my goodness, no.
Do you regret mentioning it, Audrey?
I do. I was making a very lovely confession at the beginning because my stomach was a little. Yeah, so glad that I mentioned it. And let's talk about that next week again, can we? Okay.
Yeah, I can give you a big hug, Audrey. There, big hug. Kerry, where can we find you?
I'm on YouTube, Dog on the Plot, and Instagram, Dog on the Plot.
There we go. And JB back on the sofa there. Where we got the sofa? That's me. That's sure. Where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at NaturallyJB on YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon.
There we go. Don't forget.
Am I allowed to say what I said earlier when JB wasn't here?
Yes.
That all the hearts that were broken this very week by our dear JB, adding his jewelry to his hand.
Let's have a look at it, JB. Let's have a
howling,
look at it.
the houling across England has been significant.
Another one bites the dust, eh?
I know, it happens. Oh my gosh, it just happens, doesn't it?
Right, everyone. Thank you so much for turning up. Look after yourselves. Take good care.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.